Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. My guests today are Shelly Bond again, and I always love having Shelly. Always love having Shelly. But today
Aw.
I'm really happy because here's the embarrassing thing. I have been a Liz Prince fan for longer than I've been a Shelly Bond fan.
I'm leaving. I'm so hurt.
I'm staying.
And it's really because like when I was reading Vertigo, I was barely noticing the writers and artists. I hadn't really started queuing in. Oh, all of my stuff has these names that I know.
Right.
Right. I started to notice writers and then I started to notice some artists. But the first time I read a Liz Prince book, which was actually Will You Still Love Me If I Wet the Bed, I went, fuck, this is amazing.
Thank you. That book
Um,
is 20 years old in
yeah.
September.
So
Wow.
so I started seeking out every Liz Prince book I could find, whereas with Shelley, I kind of discovered you with Black Crown and went backwards from there.
I'm
I mean, it's
so
not that I hadn't
wounded.
it's not that
No.
I hadn't read tons of your stuff.
Yeah.
I just like there are still editors that I go back and go, "Oh God, like Stuart Moore edited so many things that I like. Maybe I need to give him more credit or
I don't know if
whatever."
I don't know
So
if you can hear this, but I brought a sound effect for when I know you're lying, and it goes like this.
just barely.
What is it? I
It's
That
can't.
was a very weak air horn.
it's a very
Oh.
weak air horn, but that's all you deserve, Tad.
Oh.
I'm being totally honest, Shelley. I
Which
and
makes
and
which makes for a very dull podcast,
no,
but
it
go
doesn't.
on.
Because none of the things that I've said about you, the many times you've been on, I still, and this is no offense to you, Liz, Shelley has had a much bigger impact on comics in general.
Well,
I,
It just
yeah.
took me longer to
no.
know it.
I disagree with that. And with that,
You're a tastemaker.
I'm going to adopt a vow of silence for the next few minutes at least, because Liz Prince deserves the microphone.
It does. So, Liz,
Uh-oh. I feel like I'm put on the spot now. I
well,
think I think
you know what? Give me my one of my favorite early questions to ask, and I'm having you for the first time. So like we're gonna put Shelly on mute for. I mean, she'll chime in. She's Shelly. She always does.
Mhm.
Give me your comics biography. Where did you fall in love with comics? When like what did you read? When did you decide to do comics? Um, yeah.
My comics biography, and if people have been following me for a long time and like attended any of my book talks or heard me on previous podcasts, this might sound familiar to them, but I was really into, like Disney animated films when I was a kid, of course,
Yeah.
child of the early 80s.
80s. Hmm.
Um, and so I decided that I wanted to be an animator when I grew up. After I was told that cartoons aren't real, I thought I could grow up to be Donald Duck. And then my mom told me that cartoons are just drawings in sequential order that are then filmed and made to, create the
That
illusion
must
of
have been
motion.
crushing. And
It
I
was
love that you
crushing.
wanted to be Donald
I
Duck.
wanted to be Donald Duck. I thought I would grow up to be Donald Duck. And so my first introduction to comics were like Disney comics, like the Donald Duck
Okay.
and Uncle Scrooge, like Carl
Okay.
Barks,
Carl
Don
Barks.
Rosa
Oh.
stuff. Um,
Oh.
and the first thing that got me to ever go into an actual comic book store, because back then, I'm sure we all remember this because we're all old enough, comics used to be sold like at the supermarket and stuff with
Right.
the
Right.
magazines. Magazines are another thing that are like almost a thing of the past also,
Pretty
which is
much.
kind of hurtful and rude of the universe. um,
Truth.
so like, I used to just get my comics, the Disney comics, at the supermarket. I didn't even really realize that there was such a thing as a comic book store. In an issue of Disney Adventures sometime in the early 90s, they ran the first issue of Bone in like 4 parts,
Oh.
and it was in color. Um, and after that was over, it was like you can follow Bones' adventures. in his comic book, and I was like, I have to find this. And so going into a comic book store to find back issues of Bone and realizing that it was actually in black and white and that
Right.
it was actually self-published by Cartoon Books at the time, that kind of like directed me into that like indie self-published area. Like a couple years later, Oni Press started doing like Oni Double Feature, which was how I started finding artists like China Clugston Major at the time. I'm not sure what
Right.
her hyphenate is now.
Flores.
Flores.
Yep. Yep.
Like the Kevin Smith like Clerks comics, which
Yep.
are hilarious.
Yes, they are. The new ones are
and
too. He just did Jay and Silent Bob Meet Archie.
Meet Archie, yeah. I haven't read
so
it, but I saw
it's
it
good.
announced. And yeah, like slave labor graphics, Fanagraphics, finding Acme Novelty Library. But the thing that like really cemented my like autobio drive was finding Ariel Schrag's book. I think it was Potential, which was the first one of hers that I saw. And she is a little bit older than me, but she's a queer cartoonist from the Bay Area who was writing and drawing books about her experiences in high school while she was still in high school. And these aren't just like little short books. They're like a 300-page, tomes.
Right. This is where I have to give you my hat tip because you just introduced me to something.
Well, they are like obsessive and meticulous and amazing. And it was like the first time that I'd seen a comic where I was like, oh, like this person's like writing about their experience, but I also get a sense of like how they see the world based on like how they, like represented in their drawings. So that was kind of the first thing that really like got me interested in that. And the Evan Dorkin like short autobio strips that he used to do and like fun and stuff like that. So
I'm sorry, I just fell down the mild Ariel Schrag rabbit hole.
Well, you're gonna have to bookmark that. Because
it's not something that I should have missed.
Tad, we need you back on the podcast. Okay, so like, please,
you guys can talk without me.
Hey, I'll say one thing about Ariel Schrag. I met them at Mocha one year.
Okay.
And you guys make me feel like super ancient when you're talking about the decades. So we'll leave it there. I know I'm the oldest one in the room, and I usually am, by the way. And I'm okay with that.
But you're a very young old soul. You're the old soul when you need to be and young at heart the rest of the time.
Oh, you keep saying nice things. I'm just going to have to keep coming back to this podcast.
They're all true.
Blah, blah, blah. But back to Liz.
I've spent time with you.
I
speak from like.
All right. I have to tell you that Liz's work always stood out.
Oh,
and although I met her at Emerald City Comic-Con one year when I was looking for Peter Bagg, and you were tabling next to him.
Yep. Yeah, he thought I was so lame. It's cool.
I feel like that's a compliment, right? From Peter Bagg, that's like the coolest.
Yeah.
But Tom,
after the first day of the convention, like I used to be the kind of person who could do a convention and have endless energy afterwards and go to the after parties and like hang out with people. And now my favorite thing to do is just order takeout and then go sit alone in a room and eat it. And so, like I had a hotel room to myself for Emerald City. So I got Cheesecake Factory and just ate, Cheesecake Factory in bed and then went to sleep really early. And
the best. That's the best thing to do at a convention.
Peter was like, oh, hey, did you go to any parties last night? And I was like, nah, I just got Cheesecake Factory and like ate it in bed and watched some nature documentaries. And he was like, that's like the saddest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, really?
No,
it's like one of my top 5 nights of my life right there.
like the only con that I try to go to after party stuff at is the karaoke night at CXC that I didn't get Shelley to go to,
I,
but is a blast.
I wish I would have been dragged to that because I
It
cannot resist karaoke night.
it was a well, you should just come back. You don't even have to table at CXC. CXC is the
It's
con you
true.
should just go to every year.
I think Liz would love it.
Yeah,
I would love it. I hope to someday be back on a con circuit.
right.
But I haven't done one since COVID.
I,
Oh, I did a
I,
local Portland, Maine one earlier this year.
right. I mean, what I tell literally everybody that I talk to about CXC with is if you love comics, it's worth just going. I mean, great if you can table, but like I walked around with Durf Beckdurf this year for a little bit because it's his local con and he wasn't asked to table for the first time in years, but it's like so much a part of his thing. It's like, I'm gonna go anyway. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh man, it's been so long since I did it this way. This is pretty fun.
I met I met Durf the year
Yeah,
before
you
when
guys were
Philip
on
and I
the
were guests, and
yeah,
I bought Kent State from him. And just
yeah.
to make you jealous, he drew an image of me and Joe Strummer on the
Nice.
frontist as a frontispiece on Kent State.
Let's see, what I remember from that con in terms of you and Durf though was the punk and comics where you guys kept going back and forth on who Joe Strummer would like
W-
more because
Well,
he
yeah.
talked to Joe Strummer and you
Oh,
were certain
he talks a good
and
talk. He's
well
a
well
cartoonist and a
but-
journalist, and he was just bragging. I just had to knock him down a few pegs
well but I think it was
with love.
actually I think it was actually Reagan Buchanan who had the mic drop moment when she turned to him and she's like, "Well, you got to talk to Durf, or you got to talk to Joe Strummer, but it sounds like all you talked to him about was Shelley." So,
That was the best. We had so much fun on that panel, and for at least a year after that, people were sometimes like asking me questions on social media about it. We really did have fun.
that
I
was
Music, it can
yeah,
like
music
bridge.
and comics.
Music and comics are the two greatest things ever invented, and they bridge the gap between awkward people.
Yes, they
I
do.
spent a whole week, probably more, with Durf in France because we have the same French publisher. So I was out there for Angoulême, one of the years that he was also there, and good time. Great guy.
Yeah, terrific,
Cool guy.
super smart. Like
Yeah.
like when you're sitting next to him on a panel, you hope his IQ rubs off on you. Smart.
Um, but back to Liz, you actually did punk rock journalism
A
in
little
comic
bit.
form.
I
In
mean,
comic
I don't know
form,
if I would
which
call it punk rock journalism as much as I drew autobio comics about, punk and my connection to it.
I mean, isn't that the same? It was in a punk magazine, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, but when someone says journalism, I take that to be like
Okay, so
investigating events
so
or
so
people or
okay, so it's not Joe Sacco journalism.
right.
It's Rolling Stone.
It's navel
What do they call
gazing.
what do they call the front part of Rolling Stone where they talk about who's been seen where?
I don't know.
New Yorker has Talk of the Town, and
That's
Rolling
right.
Stone it's called something else. I don't remember what, but like the one that I always remember was Eddie Vedder was seen on smoking on a balcony with Bob Dylan and I think Leonard Cohen, something like that. And he got talked to afterward. He's like, "Yeah, they're both smoking American spirits." And I look down and go, "Man, I got to change my brand."
It's true.
I want to hear what your thoughts on Tomboy, Tad, because that
I
was
loved.
my gateway to Liz Prince, and then I went
I,
backwards, and then I started
see,
hiring her to do work for Black Crown
see,
and Off Register.
ironically, Tomboy was one of the last things of hers I read. I read some of her
Well, I mean,
zines before I got to Tomboy.
it is one of the, I mean, it came out
Yeah,
10 years ago at this point, but I haven't had that
right,
many books since then. So
right.
that would make
Until
sense.
until now.
Until now.
Yeah.
Dun
Um,
dun dun.
but I will bring up, I mean, Tomboy seems like it would be the bridge to this book, and Liz is the perfect artist for suddenly summer camp from hell. It's like inspired choice. And I know Shelley well enough to know that I'm guessing that she was your pick before you were even done writing the title. Um, Talk to me about like
So
why
yeah,
Liz is perfect for this
Shelley,
book.
do you want to describe your initial concept for this book that you pitched it to me as, and then how it pivoted?
I think I'd rather have I'd like to hear it from from your side of the equation first, if
Okay.
that's okay.
So I don't even remember. I don't even think you had necessarily like hit me up to work on this project. I feel like we were maybe talking about something else,
Okay.
and you were like, oh, if you have some time, I have like, some work. And I was like, yeah, I got some time. And I think if I'm understanding correctly, the initial idea behind this collection of summer camp stories from Shelley's childhood was going to be she would be writing all of them, but different time frames or ages would be drawn by different cartoonists. And so
Yes.
initially she hired me on to draw the first part, the youngest part, kind of in my, like updated peanutsy style.
And I think Liz, we both talked about how much we loved that early Charles Schultz period, early 50s. There's something just so pure and beautiful about the early characters. And I feel like that's what I see in your work. And that's how I was seeing that story. So it really was the Shelley who wanted to grow up to be
Oh,
animated teenage Pebbles Flintstone.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
you wanted to be Donald Duck, and I wanted to grow up to be Teenage Pebbles.
There you go.
It
And
it
I had a toad named Pebble, so it just kind of works out, right?
it was just it was meant to be. But Liz is right. When I first started working on these stories, I wanted to do them because my parents are not getting any younger, and they sort of just when I would talk to them, I could tell that their aches and pains were not uh, really doing them any favors, and they needed to lighten up a little bit. And I thought, well, maybe I should put them in comics. They'll either laugh or they'll burn them. They will buy them all and burn them. So then I'll make some money. And
Guaranteed
so
sale.
exactly. So I started writing these stories because I've always felt like those years at summer camp, even though they were like really part of my formative character arc, as if you will, uh, they were pretty terrible when you really break them down. And I'm sure they are for everyone, whether you have small, tiny hells like my allergies, my eczema, and just really being afraid of nature, unlike Liz, who is like the frog prince of America. You have to remember that in comics, you're passing the baton. So,
mhm.
I mean, obviously, Liz, when you're doing your own work as a cartoonist, you can get mad at yourself. You can be mad that the writer you has made the artist you draw a big scene in a mosh pit. But for the most part, I'd rather you get mad at me as the writer on Suddenly One Summer Camp from Hell, which she did, and I deserved it. But it's important to remember that comics, in my opinion, at best, are when you rub off on each other, when you pass the
Yeah.
baton, and when you're looking over each other's shoulder and you're sort of helping each other out to look as great as you can look. And that's where the editor in me kicks in, which makes it really hard when you're writing and art directing, lettering, and editing the book. It's very dangerous. You're in your head 24/7. And
Is it kind of like being
ugh.
your own lawyer? I mean, should you have possibly gotten another editor, Shelley?
Well, I actually had another editor. Now,
Okay.
when I hire an editor on my books, and I always have an editor on my books, whether they're credited or not,
Right,
it's customized. Like some
right.
books, like my graphic memoir editing trilogy books. My first one, Filth and Grammar, I had two editors. And Fast Times and Doppelganger, which I'm working on right now, they both have one editor. For summer camp, I did have what I call beta readers, and Will Potter, who's my usual editor on my personal work, was a beta reader, and Steve Siegel, who's one of my best friends and my mentor, was a beta reader. But if I'm being honest, the best editor on this book was Liz Prince, because she elevated it on every level. And that's kind of why I hired her and threw lots of money at her. Maybe not lots, but I hope enough money at her to make it
I
a
mean, I
job
remember
worth
how hard it
doing.
was to get across the line on the first one. So you threw some money at her and then more to get it finished.
Well, it meant a lot to me, like
I
I was sending my parents chapters and they were hysterical. Of course they remember all of these stories, but from different
right.
vantage points, which is why my
Yeah.
sister had to be a major player in the book. And I didn't want her to steal the show, and that's Liz's fault, because Liz drew my sister Randy, who by the way, if anyone in comics or in the world thinks that I'm Gabby and I talk a lot, you have not met my sister. Oh my God. One day we'll have to invite her on a podcast. And you know what, Liz? We can actually meet in Vegas and
I'll have
like
her on.
win a couple of $1 million, and we can come back and my sister would still be talking on this podcast with Tad.
um, I did while we were quickly on the editing books, I didn't want to forget to bring up that this year at cons, when I've been talking to various young creators and whatnot, it is the first year that I've heard more about your books than Understanding Comics.
Oh,
Last year was
come on.
last year was about
Oh,
even,
you
but no,
come
no,
on.
seriously.
Come
I'm
on.
talking the younger creators, the ones that are just coming up.
All right. Well, thank you very
Your
much. If that's true,
your
I'm grateful.
your editing book has become like the Bible for so many of like the indie creators that are still doing the small cons, etc. Um,
Well, I appreciate that. It's going into
so
its third printing next
yes, it
month
is.
with
But then I'm going to give
additions.
you a hard time because you pivoted from single issues to the graphic
Oh,
novel, which is great, and I love that. But you didn't tell me. I had to find it on my own.
oops.
Oh,
I would have
we're
broken
talking
that.
about this,
Yes, we're
right?
talking
Okay.
suddenly
Summer
run summer
camp.
camp from hell.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
I would have loved to break that. I did manage to find it quickly because I do keep my eyes peeled on your stuff, but like I would have been plugging it out the wazoo.
Well, you know what
If you
happened?
didn't
To
even
be
bother to
honest, Tad, I've got, while I had the other Kickstarter going, and it's taken me longer than I would have liked. It's really been
tell me.
it's been it, really intense. But Liz and I were working steadily on the book until I got close to the ending. Dun
Yeah,
dun
the
dun.
ending was really threw a stick in the spokes there. Pulled the football, she was going to kick it and it just got pulled right out.
You were Lucy?
Oh.
I mean, do you think I was being a Lucy? I was
No, no,
being very
I was
like,
saying Shelley was being
oh,
Lucy.
no.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Shelley, the universe
The universe was
was
Lucy.
Lucy was
Okay.
holding the football
Okay.
for Shelley and pulled it away when she was trying to do the final kick.
Okay. Okay.
It was tragic, I'll just say that. But I was the comeback kid thanks to Liz,
Those
because
are.
Liz and I just kind of put our heads together. And I just want it to be known for anyone who's listening that the best thing you can do when you're collaborating is be honest. And if you stumble, anyone on the team stumbles, raise your hand and say, hey, help. I think I'm lost. Or does anything here work? I think one of the hardest things for me was knowing that I was going to end these stories. I knew they had to end, and I always knew they were going to end when my tenure at summer camp was over, which was the summer of '83. However, I didn't want it to end. And I think that was part of why I was struggling to get to the very last page for Liz. And I wrote, I think, a few versions, Liz, and they just weren't quite right. And to this day, I wish I would have had another 8 pages, because one of my pet peeves as an editor is that I hate a Wild West ending, which is
Mhm.
basically just an ending that happened so fast you want to go dun 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 dun, and then
Yeah, and
you're
then you get yanked off with
at,
the.
you get yanked off with the cane.
Mhm.
I'm starting to see Liz as now Daffy Duck, and I'm Bugs Bunny, and we're tap dancing off the stage. But there's nothing worse in comics when you get to that last page. And then I'll tell you what's worse than that is when you turn to that last page and you don't see anything cool, which is why on the very last story page of Suddenly One Summer Camp from Hell, there's a great big illustration that Liz did of
I
a
have that
snack
sticker.
pack,
I
chocolate
have
pudding
that
cup.
sticker right here on my
Oh yeah,
laptop.
we
I
believe
ha-
you.
I
Sure.
have to say I mean my favorite part of working on this was getting to draw those wacky pack-esque
Yeah,
stickers for the first book and coming up with those ideas.
that
Was
was
there a
fun.
couple designs that we didn't end up using?
There were. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun with those. We for people who aren't aware of this, uh
So for the
my
special edition hardcover, you're going to add 8
hey,
more pages and
Mhm.
oh
send out some
yeah,
more stickers and trading
more
cards.
more of the wax
Very cool.
packs. I mean, basically,
Yeah,
I'm a kid from that generation of wacky packages. So
yeah.
you guys weren't even a little glitter in your parents' eyes at that
Well,
time,
no, but I
but
grew
you
up on
know
wax
about them.
packs. Well, I grew up on wax pack baseball cards.
Okay. So there
You
you
know,
go. So you know what I'm talking
my
about.
third passion,
Oh boy.
you
You
know.
might I have a
Oh,
feeling you probably have 10 passions, Tad. Come on.
no, my big three are comics, music, and baseball. Really
Okay.
storytelling in general, but comics are my favorite medium.
All right.
Um,
Okay, we're happy. We'll continue talking with you then. We're only half an hour in. We don't have to go home. We are we are home. We are home.
yeah,
But
I thought we were all working from home today.
yeah, always. I'd like to know from Liz, since we haven't really looked each other in the eye since we collected the book, what was your favorite section to draw? And what was the section that you were so bummed and wish I wouldn't have written and forced you to commit to paper?
Um, well,
Be honest. I can take it.
I am gonna be honest. You
Te
are gonna take it.
Teflon, baby.
Um, I mean, I had a lot of fun drawing the like overnight ones, the scenes with like telling the stories in the cabins both times that it happened. There's just like fun, like little jokes to be able to put in. Like you wrote in the script that it was supposed to be like a teen magazine about whether or not Gumi and Roy, would hook up, and then I turned it into Camp Teen Magazine and added the like, you know, exclusive Randy's diary, just like dropping little like fun things like that into it is just like my favorite part of making comics. But yeah, I really like the way that those camp, storytelling pages came out. And it was hard to like have to design a new camp interior for, almost every story. It's a
Right.
lot of wood paneled rooms. Um, I guess the one that I, like was kind of surprised it ended up in the book is the story that Amalia had originally drawn, because I thought that the purpose of that was strictly to like have them side by side in your editing class so that you could be like, this is the same script, but like this is how this person drew it, and this is how this person drew it, because that story to me really feels like it's kind of like a recap or has elements of like a lot of the stories, like different snippets of it. It feels more like a vignette about like your wider summer camp experience than like, oh, this is like this section. You know what I mean? You know what
Not
I
re
mean?
not really, but but I'm gonna run with it anyway. It was, I think, so amazing how you were able to design and really expand on your art with each camp, both within the cabins or the little dorms that we stayed inside, but also in the landscapes. Like Liz, I was blown away by how you handled those double page spreads, which can be a pain in the butt in comics. We all know, and anything gets lost in the gutter or the creep or the spine, we all go crazy. So as I was lettering the book, I tried my best, to kind of be mindful of how those pages were going to fall and face each other. And I got to say, I just think you did an incredible job.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like with my art, especially, I don't consider myself someone who's like good at backgrounds or environment. I feel like I'm getting better at it. And actually, like working on this book with you was a big push in that direction because I would usually just be like, I'll draw it from an angle where you don't see what the setting is. That's not as important. So a lot of times I really kind of feel like for stuff like that, like the coloring kind of does a lot of heavy lifting also. Because I am just like a single weight cartoonist. I don't, vary my brush stroke or, the
Your
the
line,
nib
yeah.
side. So I do think that coloring does a lot of heavy lifting for scenes that have kind of a little more like going on. I do really like this page. It's funny because this page is in the story that I was just talking about that I was like, oh, I didn't necessarily expect it to be in the book, but I do like this page with all the kids in the mess hall. And
That was
I took
amazing.
that liberty to like make her arm like extra super stretch Armstrong.
Right.
Um,
When somebody is daring me to kiss somebody in the lunchroom, I'm a new camper, and some bratty, obnoxious girl stands on the table and says, "We dare Robbie Menson to kiss our new bunkmate Shelly on the lips."
mhm.
And I have to say something about that page. This is where Liz just went to town. You could stare at that page for an hour and you still won't find every slapstick moment because Liz doesn't leave anything alone. I mean, my favorite part of that page was the kid that is holding a tray where the apple is falling.
Mhm.
Everything's falling off his tray, and he's like, whoa. But every kid in that mess hall is banging on the table and they want to see this like goofy 10-year-old boy come over and kiss me, and I'm out of there. I couldn't run fast enough to get out of that mess hall because I think it's clear in my summer camp book. I mean, look, I think this was like 1978. You guys, you weren't born. You didn't know how tough it was in the 70s to be a kid at overnight camp for 8 weeks. Man, it was really bad. It was
Oh,
embarrassing.
oh, only time I did that much time at summer camp, I was a staffer.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, it was intense because you couldn't just like also just kind of like grab your phone and call your mom.
Right.
You had to book a time to call
Yeah.
your parents, and it cost money. And there were no, we couldn't just go to a payphone either because we did have quarters and dimes for payphones back then. But I thought about hitchhiking many times. And don't forget the way that Liz draws me in the book, I pretty much look like 5 years old until I'm about 13. So
Right.
it's true. When I was maybe 20, I started to look 11. So there was no other, no one else could have like drawn me so perfectly in this book except Liz. And I was shorter than just about everyone. And
That
that
was one of
that
the
didn't
things that
help.
every
Is
new
that where your
story.
attitude came from?
Oh, man. Sorry, Liz, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that, before we started like each new story, I would be like, okay, so am I drawing you like older? And you were like, nope. I'd be like, am I drawing you older? You'd be like, nope. And I was like, okay.
Well, I thought it was really weird. My sister's only 18 months older than me. We were one grade apart. But when we were younger, she was like a full head bigger than me. And I mean, she, granted, she stopped growing when she was 5'2.5". So I'm not saying she's like towering over me now. And
Mhm.
also, I always wore platforms. So actually, I look down to her these days. But I found it peculiar that like I kind of just like wasn't catching up. And she was always significantly taller than me. And you can see that in the pictures that I put in the book. But I think
Yeah.
what Liz captured perfectly about our sibling rivalry is that we were both always vying for my father's attention. And my sister has always been an old soul. She married a man 25 years her senior. She was never into kid stuff. So she was always holier than thou, Miss Maturity, and she was running my dad's business even when she was a teenager in those days. And so for my family to read this book and to like not just like recall a lot of these moments, not all of them, and they still think I lied about some of them, which may or may not be true, they just loved how they were depicted. And Liz, you did such an incredible job really with just all of the really important characters to me. My cousin, who by the way, I just saw, Liz, I have to tell you, my cousin Jill, who was Leah in the book, I just
Mhm.
saw her for the first time since the mid 90s, and she came to see me at Heroes Con, and she read the book and she just was blown away. She just said, it meant so much to her to be in the book. And even though obviously we changed names and I kind of was combining
Mhm.
characters, you captured the nuance and you captured the heart and soul of everything that I hold within me. So thank you for doing that.
Well, that is very good to hear because it's incredibly nerve-wracking to make characters out of real people that you've never met before. So, like having to kind of guess like what would their mannerisms be? What kind of facial expressions would they make? Like things like that. I feel like when I draw my own comics and there are people that I I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly how this person would react or what happened when this happened. But it being people that I've never met and only seen still photographs of, I'm like, I hope that someone doesn't read this and go, oh my god, I hate what you did with me. But if they do, it's probably your fault.
Yeah,
Because you had to give the green light on all
that's
character designs and
true.
stuff.
That's
So
true.
That that actually leads me to a question that I had in my head as I was reading this. You do a lot of autobio comics. What's it like to do somebody else's autobio comic?
um this is really the first time that I've ever drawn somebody else's work that was longer than like 4 or 5 pages. Like for the,
Right,
I think the second longest was the shorts in the back of Eve Stranger.
right.
Wow. I feel so honored, Liz.
I'm not, I don't,
That's because you rock.
for whatever
Ah.
reason, I guess I'm not really thought of as somebody to come to just like have me draw their story. Because it just hasn't, it's not been a thing
Well,
that's happened.
that
I drew one Adventure Time comic that Ryan North wrote, which I think was also maybe a 4 page thing. But then other than that, I generally am like someone who writes and draws my own work, which I'm not complaining about either. It's just
but
it's kind of interesting. Like when I think back on like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. It's kind of interesting that like I've only drawn other people's work, like a handful of times. And I would say 90% of it has been for you, Shelley.
I find that just to be like just wrong. And I'm convinced those people either don't have eyeballs, they've been sleeping for 20 years, or they're blindfolded and they don't know it.
Well, I kind of
I
wonder though if your main, like body of work is autobio, if people even really think of you as
yeah,
like an
Uh,
artist for hire,
nah, that's an
I guess
editor.
I
yeah.
That
just gonna.
those are lazy editors you're talking about without naming names. I'm serious.
I mean I agree with both of you.
It infuriates me. It
Um,
infuriates me to no end.
because I think that like uh particularly once you've made a name for yourself, like even editors don't like to be turned down. So like to pitch a story and have somebody go, no, I just do autobio comics. And particularly if you're expecting that, it's, but at the same time, I agree with Shelley that like the editor's job is to jump out and go, this person would be great for this, so I have to at
Yep.
least ask.
Editors need vision.
Hmm.
And vision starts with pounding the pavement and keeping your eyes open as long as possible. Even if you need toothpicks to keep them open in the middle of the night.
That's scary.
I've seen Shelley with the toothpicks. It's not.
It happens, honestly.
I prefer the Homer Simpson ping pong trick. Or
Oh,
the
yeah.
glasses that had the thing on them.
That's pretty funny.
I'm not going to stick toothpicks in my eyes.
Yeah,
I love the fake
you'll pretend to
glasses.
be awake.
Yes.
I mean, is it something that you'd like to do more of, or has it been the specific assignments that have caught your attention and gone, oh,
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Like, it would probably be a very, kind of like specific kind of story. I mean, it would have to have that like slice of life. It doesn't have to be someone else's autobio stuff, but it definitely, I don't think I'd, be a good fit for like a fantasy story or like a sci-fi thing or,
you
like
don't
a
want to do
superhero
Spider-Man?
thing.
Is that what you're trying to say?
If it was just like Spider-Man going about his day and,
I mean,
something
those are
wacky
kind of the
happens,
best Spider-Man stories, aren't they?
I'm sure they exist, and I'm sure that they
Yeah.
are. But like I think that I would guess that another part of being an editor or like an art director is like knowing, what the person's output
I mean,
is
I'm
and how
suddenly
it fits,
feeling like Tom King needs to have you do Wonder Woman, because he does absolutely do those. Like my favorite Wonder Woman issue he's done so far, she and Superman went shopping for Batman's birthday.
I mean, that sounds like something I could have fun with.
Right.
There you go.
All right, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I do want to draw for Marvel. Get in touch.
Hey, royalties add up,
Hey, it's true.
Philip has done a couple of things for Marvel over the years, a Deadpool short story, and you pick up a $3.12 every couple of years. It adds up.
I was going through.
So once a decade, he takes you to the movies on Marvel.
That sounds like the death of the endless, high concept for death, the high cost of living. I love it.
Mhm.
Liz, I want to ask Liz another question, if that's all right.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
What would have been your alternative ending? Because I must say that at every stage, I really appreciated Liz's feedback, and I tried to make it clear that I welcomed it. And Liz, I'm going to give you such props about the first time when I realized how much you could contribute and how much I needed you to contribute as a writer, artist, or cartoonist, as we say, was with the Bug Juice Brigade.
Mhm.
And so I felt very comfortable and all through the project asking you for advice when I really felt like I missed the mark. You gave me such great comments at the end. And I think we came up with, I hope, a satisfying ending. But if there was an alternative ending, what would you have liked to have seen for Shelley and the gang?
God, I mean, that's like such a hard
Pointed.
thing to think about. It's not
Pointed question.
necessarily pointed, but it's like it is an autobio comic.
Yeah.
It takes liberties, but like in nature, it's your experiences at summer camp. So I think that was actually part of what was giving me the most trouble whenever you were asking for input or like where I thought like the story should go, because it's kind of like, well, I don't know, I wasn't there.
I wasn't even a fetus at the time.
I was not. Towards the end I was a fetus and a little tiny baby, but I don't think that I don't think I had much to add at that point. I think that I comics editing is such like an interesting uh
Art.
concept to me, and it's something that I'm like vaguely interested. Like I could be like, I could see like doing like comics editing, or like consulting for hire. But I think that if someone was like in the middle of writing a story and asking me where it should go, that's where I start to be like, ooh, I don't know. A good example of this is, like a friend of mine uh was drawing a book for First Second like years ago, kind of like a fantasy-ish book. And they showed me like a character design and they were like, what do you think about this? Like if it went like this on this page. And I was kind of like, yeah, I think that's cool, but I don't ultimately know what this character is supposed to be doing or what its place in the story is. I mean, like I think it looks cool, but like,
Yeah, that's not enough, right?
he was like, but like, do you think it works for this? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know what the story is. I haven't read your story yet. You're still writing it. So like I have, when like something isn't, I could go in when something's finished and be like, oh, I think we move this around or do this. But like when something's open-ended, I'm like, I don't know, man. I gotta let you put your vision down before I, can give you any valuable insight to it. And I think that that's ultimately like what ended up happening with pretty much all of the stories in this book, because each one was like a different script. It wasn't like just like a stack. It was like every vignette was its own thing that we worked on. um so yeah, an alternate ending, I can't even.
I have a feeling you would let Gumi and Roy run away together. That's what I'm
I
thinking
mean,
because
I assume they did when the curtain fell.
listen, you brought so much to those characters. Um, there was one of my favorite moments. I have a favorite moment on every page, but one of my favorite moments was when Gumi is hiding behind some bushes when we announce that there's a boy counselor, at camp, and she's hiding. And those are the things, Liz, like I thought as a writer, I was giving you some gags along the way and I was pointing things out to you. But if I gave you one thing, you threw in 20. And I love you for that. There wasn't a moment where if you had a visual idea that we could take and seed it through the story and have it matter to a character, you went for it. I think the other thing I loved is when we had a few leitmotifs in the book, and when we went from this interior swimming pool scene with when the kids are older. It's really when Gumi first talks to Roy, when she blows the whistle, and he said something like, "If you're trying to like blow my eardrums, you're a year too late. That happened at the Spectrum when I saw the Cars." And she says, "No way, I love the Cars." And Liz drew the album cover of the Cars debut album, and it was me giving Gumi the record because Gumi didn't really know from bands like that, but it impressed Roy, and he says, "Way." That I think is my favorite panel today. But I'll have a different favorite panel in 10 minutes when we have to end the interview, and it'll be something else.
I
I
do
love that.
actually want to say though that Shelley, this is actually kind of the perfect ending. Um, eh,
Now you're just saying that because you want me to come
no,
back and
no,
host the show
I'm
again.
rereading it, and we know where your life goes, and it's
Right.
very much not outdoors,
Exactly.
very much
Oh my
not
God.
the directions that their lives are going. I mean, you got along with them well, but they were only kind of your tribe.
Right.
Um, so the fact that you're the only one that dresses up and the one that brings the mixtape, I mean, really?
Yep.
How else
I
is it
mean,
supposed to end? And
I
and
love
and
the
then to
idea
dig
that
from your
you
sister.
that you gave the party a theme without it having one. You're like,
Right,
Yeah.
this is the theme of
right.
the party. It's
Well,
not even my party.
I got to be honest with you guys. I was saying to my cousin Jill, it was that party. I felt like $1,000,000. There was one Polaroid of me at the party, and I thought it was in my house, and I looked for it for 14 months. I took my scrapbooks apart and I had to draw it for Liz at the end of the day. Liz, I'm sorry about that, but I drew that picture of myself because that was a moment in time where I really felt somewhere between new romantic and new wave. And I felt
Right.
like $1,000,000. But I can assure you, if someone took a picture of everyone at that party, I would have been the only person with that red sort of Simon Le Bon headband and too much makeup, breaking out. And Jill did not even remember that party. And we had it
Right.
at her house. So yes, that is the truth. That was
Yeah.
my end of camp, uh,
Well, and
graduation
particularly
party.
because at least in my mind, this is the prequel to Heavy Rotation, that's
Yeah, I guess it is in some ways.
I mean
Yeah, you're
it just
right. Maybe it
fits.
is. Maybe it
It
is.
fits.
I have to say Liz did a terrific job on that double page spread of going over the mountain. Because Liz and it was really hard for me to write that scene because it really happened. I really did smash into a turtle and had turtle guts on, the car my sister and I shared, which was a 1974 banana yellow Mustang that my father loved. And it was not in good shape anyway. And Liz is such a nature enthusiast and she is a frog whisperer. And so I knew I couldn't ask her to do too much, but we did talk through that. Liz, you didn't have any demands, but there were definitely things that you didn't want to draw when it came to that. So,
Well, that was the scene that had like that aside with the hatchet and the hook
man,
guy.
yeah.
And then I was supposed to show up in like me time and then correct them about the difference between reptiles and amphibians, which was a really fun little gag, but I felt like it just kind of like distracted from the story overall. And then there was the thing about like the turtle ended up in the road because they like slingshotted it in front of your
Oh,
car. And I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. The idea of you hitting a turtle on accident is like fine, but the idea of somebody like throwing a turtle in the
yeah,
road to get hit makes me a little skeevy, even
yeah,
if it's fake, urban legend
totally.
guys.
Totally. I really went too far off the rails there, and I was glad you pulled me back in.
Oh, I love your cat.
Just like
Dracula has entered the chat.
Yay.
that was perfect timing because you brought me back from almost the point of no return with the turtle guts. The truth of the matter is, at 5'1" in 1983, I had to sit on two phone books to see over the dashboard of the bucket seats of the 1974 Mustang. I could barely see, and a turtle, gigantic, like I said, the size of a moped, it was huge, just was in the middle of the road, and I was too late on the brakes, and it sucked.
It's a sad story, but it
Yeah,
happens actually a lot.
it's a true story, and I'm embarrassed, but I think we at least got the point across there. You did a great job. That was some complicated choreography there on paper, but you nailed it. And let me just say that
Absolutely.
Sophie Dodgson did such a tremendous job coloring the book. They are
Yeah.
so talented and they are huge fans of Liz's work and needed no arms twisted or broken to come on board for this project. So originally I wanted the book to be in black and white because I loved all those old Peanuts comics, but then it just sort of the book kept growing and it really seemed like it needed to have an evolution in color. So at one point it was going to be black and white and then it was going to slowly get more color. Then we were going to do it very sort of sun drenched and then it was going to go into pop art colors. But at the end of the day, I just gave it to Sophie and I gave her a few notes and Liz had a few notes and we just really let her interpret it. And she, as they say in baseball, knocked it out of the park.
So I
Oh,
have a question, if I can ask a question that I'm actually just now noticing.
Oh no.
So, um, you know, we we had a lot of back and forth about what age range this audience was going to go for, and the back of the book says that it's for mature. I didn't realize that we went all the way from being like all ages to like middle grade to like straight up like rated M for mature.
Well, you know what I did? I wrestled with that a lot. And even though it only touched upon eating disorders and bullying and general, overdose-ish on allergy medicine,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the best thing for this book is for somebody to read it, a parent to read it and make their own decision. So that's why I put M on it. And most of my books are in that age range. I mean, I really think it's like a PG book, but I have a friend who is an elementary school teacher. She's taught everywhere from second to sixth grade, and she couldn't take this into her classroom because of the title.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I felt like I wanted to err on the side of up. That's all. Are you
I
gonna?
guess I
That's
just feel.
that's
I guess I just feel like it is PG, so M seems like like maybe a little bit of an overshoot.
All
yeah, I think
right.
I would have gone YA.
Well,
YA teen.
Yeah,
well,
teen.
the problem with it now is that we don't have
It's printed.
it's printed and we don't have a distributor. I was thinking
Right.
I could actually color in over the rated M for mature with my Sharpie
Uh
on all the copies. There aren't
huh.
that many copies, but
I
but
mean, you could.
to be honest, I really there are some things that could maybe need a trigger warning on here.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
I don't
ask
know.
people when they order it. What rating would you like me to give it? I'll Sharpie it in.
Yeah, I can do that.
Say
That
five,
is not a problem.
five stars.
Choose your own rating. Shelly and Liz, this is Phil. He's our newest co-host. He like ditched out of
Phil.
work as early as he could to come say hello.
Yep. Ran straight
So,
from the meeting room to the Zoom room. So thanks for having
Nice.
me. Thanks for letting me join late.
Welcome.
yeah.
Welcome. Are you
Yeah.
are you mature enough for this podcast?
I was just barely mature enough
He
for
is
that
the
one.
younger. He is the
Oh,
youngster on this
great.
podcast.
A little
Course
bit.
he is. Of
I
course
think
he
he's
is.
even younger than Liz. Liz, you're not the youngest anymore.
I mean,
Well, she wasn't
like I
anyway.
said,
You were.
no.
Tad is the youngest.
No. I'm still the
Well,
youngest, but only by like a year.
Okay.
I was
Right.
born in 81, so
Right.
All right.
Right.
90.
Right.
what?
Nine.
Sorry,
What?
90.
Excuse me? Did someone say something?
90.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
so. 90.
Yeah.
What?
I was raised on the classics though. So
All right.
yeah, at least musically, I had a good foundation. So
Yeah. Was
there's
that
that one.
because of like an older sister?
Parents, thankfully. My
Okay.
dad was a radio DJ in college.
Oh,
So
hey.
yeah, so he had a wall full of a CD collection. And
Well. Where
yeah.
was he? Where did he go to college? I was a college DJ.
That would have been, I don't remember what school down in San Diego in sometime in the 80s. He did a lot more partying than studying. He didn't finish. So
Sounds like he needs heavy rotation.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Order
that.
him
I
heavy
actually,
rotation.
I just
That's his Christmas present.
There
there
you
you
go.
I'll write that one down because I lent him Phonogram and he got 2/3 of the way through it and was like, I don't know about this. So writing down heavy rotation now.
Heavy rotation, it's a
yeah.
one shot too. It's an
Yes.
anthology. It's a love letter to
Nice.
college radio.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
fantastic.
he will dig it.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough with some of the music stuff because he definitely has less common musical beliefs. Like I grew up hearing that the Beatles are the most overrated band in existence, which he's like they have to be because they're the highest rated, so it's
Mhm.
always going to
Well,
be over.
and I was a Kinks fan, so and I like the Stones. I wasn't a huge Beatles fan myself, so
Yeah.
Ramones over Beatles every day.
yes, I'm with you,
Mhm.
Liz.
It's a good one.
See, I'm gonna be it's hard not to
Uh-oh.
still have the Beatles on top as much as I love all of the other bands that you've also mentioned.
You're fired,
Um,
Tad. Tad,
and
you're
and
fired.
I might listen to more Kinks than Beatles.
I've said it
But
twice
that's
already.
only
You're
because I
fired.
spent so much time listening to Beatles in my youth.
Just listen to Oasis.
I love Oasis.
All right.
I prefer Blur.
Oh, well.
You
Now,
in China.
Phil, you're fired too.
There we go.
We had this conversation. I think you even listened to that one, Phil, back when
I
you
did.
were more
I
of a
definitely
listener
listened
than
to
a.
I'm more of a
Hey,
listener than an experiencer.
Everybody, it's all about pulp.
It is.
Hey,
I'm putting it
Hey,
out
yes,
there.
I'll
yes.
take
You
that.
know what,
Yeah.
Liz, you're right. I was just
I-
listening to the live Glastonbury set. Pulp,
I-
better than
and
ever.
James,
And Suede.
underrated.
No, James, not for me.
Underrated.
But my husband likes James.
Yeah.
Suede and Pulp really are two of my favorite bands.
I
Yeah.
was so tempted to travel for those pulp shows last fall, but luckily I'm seeing them in Boston in September. So
What?
Nice.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous. Oh my God, I love Jarvis. Say hi to Jarvis for me.
oh, I will, but not until I say hi to him for me first.
Oh, boo.
You mean you're not going to sit there and talk to Jarvis about Liz like Durf talked to Joe Strummer about Shelley?
Hey,
Just
I'm going to tell you something, and it's true because you can't make this up. 2 months ago, I wrote to Jarvis. I got a connection through someone in Sheffield, and just very briefly, I gave it my all. I gave it my subject line. Comic book editor seeks rock star to work on graphic memoir, and never heard back.
mm,
Who knows?
he's
Maybe
silly.
one day.
He's
Now
silly.
that book would definitely be rated M for mature.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that
I-
reminds me, the thought I had in terms of the mature rating, the one piece where it makes sense is that I don't know if your average all ages reader would get the most out of how often you mention Bowie. There was a certain amount of the period piece of it that I
Be
think takes
careful,
the mature
Phil.
perspective.
Be
What?
careful, Phil.
Well, I think what's interesting, and I have to finish up the soundtrack because I did a soundtrack for the periodical when we did the Kickstarter,
Right.
and Liz did the black and white version, but I still need to do like a real soundtrack for this volume because it'll be extensive. But in truth, I discovered Bowie from Rebel Rebel on the radio. I mean, that's just the
Right.
truth. I'll never ever forget those chords. And
Yeah.
watching my counselors, put on their heels and their perfume and their makeup to go out on the town, like that's I think when I started to really become aware of what music meant to me. And I was 8.
Hmm.
So, but I appreciate you sticking up for me. I don't know how much the rating matters
I
to
don't think it
people
does.
that buy from an online warehouse that is off Register Press. I certainly hope they
Is it a
won't.
warehouse or a garage?
It's right there behind me. It's called Casa Bond. We customize every package. I
know you do.
sign every book. I put on the strong tape. I weigh the mail. I slap on the label and I kiss it goodbye and thank everybody for supporting our work.
So I do have a couple of quick content level questions that I feel
Oh, no.
compelled to ask.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start with, would you say that you embellished for entertainment purposes, or are you going to stand by this is like true work?
Oh, well, definitely David Bowie as Ziggy Stardust visited her in the infirmary.
Of course.
Actually, Liz, that was Bowie as Halloween Jack.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
But
I'm going to admit something. I'm not a Bowie fan.
What?
Oh,
Wait,
you're never getting any more work
you're
from
fired.
Shelley.
Hey, I finished the project, so
Burn the book. Listen, Liz, I'm gonna have to share something about Liz though. When it came to the page about how I discovered MTV, I'll never forget the moment when Liz said, I don't think you're going to get all these people on the page. You gave me too many people. Maybe I'll give you one. And you gave me all the people, Liz. You gave me
I gave
Bowie
you all
from
the people.
You gave me Bowie from Ashes to Ashes with the Blitz Kids. You gave me Echo and the Bunnymen. You gave me Ian McCulloch. I mean, you didn't skimp.
I think what I ended up doing was smashing some of the panels. I think that it was a page that had maybe more panels in it, and I turned it into the two. Like on the
Yes.
script, I think there were more panels, and I was just like, if I'm putting them in, I have to like turn it into this.
Well, I loved what you did, and you still captured the whole essence of that moment of discovery of that hinge point, that turning point when you know your life will never be the same, and you're up for it. That was that moment in front of the TV.
Hey, that was my moment with Green Day. I walked in on my friend's older brother watching the video for Basket Case, and I just stood there in the back of the room and was like,
And how old were you?
I was 12
12?
years
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
Yeah, so around that age.
Mhm.
One of the things I will say to give Liz a couple of props, because we haven't given her enough props.
Nope.
I've got no props today. Where's
I know.
my props?
Well, this book really came together after I read Noah Van Sciver's Maple Terrace,
Oh,
which I thought was
yeah.
genius.
Fantastic.
And Liz was familiar with the book too. And so we both kind of approached this concept as let's look at that format. And Liz reminded me numerous times over the year and a half that we worked together that the beauty of that book was that there were like 3-panel pages, 3 and 4 panel pages,
I
sometimes
still
2-panel
have
pages.
them right next to my
Yes.
desk.
So that was one of the real like moments where Liz would bring me back down from outer space and be like, hey, remember, this is what you said you wanted, and this is what I draw best.
Do you ever
And
say
she's
you're
right.
not doing a Vertigo book, Shelley? You're doing.
This
I
was,
don't think so.
I think this was Vertigo's first all ages title.
Oh, this book, if you're talking about the original Vertigo, that's dead. So,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have
Fair.
been there.
Fair.
I said I was gonna, I gave you the opportunity to say that you embellish things, and now I got to ask the two content questions that like just stuck at me
Oh
first.
no.
Bug juice. Did you actually make your own bug juice? And did you drink it? And worse still, did you actually get anybody else to?
First of all, bug juice was a real thing. And no, we never actually thought it was made of bugs, and we didn't make it, but Liz did.
Well, I wrote that story actually. I fully wrote that story in the book.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
That was a really fun part.
I mean,
I love that.
I know bug juice is a real thing. I was a camp counselor, but I also know that it doesn't involve bugs. And I
Yes.
love the story where it did involve bugs.
Mhm.
So I was wanting to know if that was fun, or whether young Shelley had a
Well,
very creative streak.
young
came
Shelley was lucky to hire very talented, not even
Liz.
born yet, Liz, to write that story. And now you're reminding me, I really should have given you credit for that story in the book. So when we go back to press, after we
Yeah.
sell out this print run, we're taking the M off the back, and we're going to give Liz that script writing credit, because you did. You really you added so much to it that I'm happy to change
It's
the credits
actually
accordingly.
funny. When we did the Kickstarter for the like first black and white issue, a friend of mine ordered it, and then after she read it, she was like, "Hey, you wrote that bug juice story, didn't you?" And I was like,
Aw.
"Yeah, I did." She was like, "Yeah, I could tell." I was like, "Okay."
Now I feel really bad that like I didn't mean to take all of the credit. I'm definitely one to
I-
give credit where credit's due.
I
so
took it as ghostwriting because the concept, you were trying to write a story about bug juice, but it was getting like really convoluted. There was something about boogers or something that I was kind of like, this is getting weird.
okay.
It was like on the bus, and somebody like had a booger, and then they kept
Don't
it.
remember that part.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a true
Go find
story.
the
Maybe that's
emails.
maybe that's one of Tad's memories that he's actually beaming to you right
I mean,
now. I
I've
mean,
been
mental
trying to.
telepathy.
I've been trying to get you to write my memoirs for a while. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud? The other question that I just have to ask, I've seen many
Oh,
people who
geez.
had their names on their underwear. Did you
Yeah.
really have the day of the week also
Oh,
stitched on your?
that was such a thing. Oh, my mom didn't hand stitch them, but they did sell
Okay.
underpants that said the days of the week.
They still do.
Oh,
Do
yeah,
they?
okay.
Yeah. hmm
That I
I'm,
wouldn't
had
I'm
know.
no
assuming
idea.
it's not. I'm assuming that this is if a girl's underwear phenomenon. I
I-
doubt
I-
that they
Yeah,
make
no, this is
Yeah.
not.
underwear for boys or men that have the days of the week. But yeah, they still do it. They have socks.
We have
that them
superheroes
too.
on ours, but I've never seen the days of the week.
I've seen it as a
Spider-Man,
gag, but
sure.
never
I'm
Superman,
I'm
Batman,
surprised. I am surprised. Those are
Simpsons.
the two things you wanted to ask about, Tad. That really floors me. I thought you would have wanted to ask me about why Billy Joel's Glass Houses made me mental in the summer of 1980.
Well, that's a good one.
it was
It's
Billy
a
Joel. That's
You
why.
get to answer that then.
oh wait, who did I say? Billy Idol?
You
You
said
said
Billy
Billy Joel. No,
Joel.
no, no.
Oh,
I
okay,
said
sorry.
you went crazy because it was Billy Joel. That's why.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I was surrounded in a bunk with people who didn't know the Cars, the B-52s. They didn't know any of my music because they were big into Billy Joel. So that's just, oh, I was just gagging the whole time.
How many of them were New Yorkers?
Uh, a third,
Yeah, I mean,
a
it's a
third.
thing.
I
It's a
mean,
thing.
the places that I listed from the kids coming from, it was
I mean, if
weird. It
they'd been
was
from Jersey, it would have been lots of Springsteen.
maybe. I don't know. I think they were just lame. I think they actually just listened to what was on the radio on a bad station.
And see, I mean, I don't like a lot of Billy Joel, but I do like some.
Well, again, you're fired, and I'm never coming back.
I was gonna
The
say
end.
the only time
See,
I
we've
like Billy
already gone
Joel.
over. I like a lot more music than you do. I like
You
jazz,
do.
remember?
Oh, I don't
You
like
don't you don't
jazz.
like jazz. I would say you just haven't heard
Uh,
the right jazz,
I,
but
w-
I don't know what the right jazz
I
is.
would say you're wrong.
I
That's
love
Okay, wait.
blues.
Sorry, I gotta put these two Billy Joel things.
Oh,
One,
no.
my dad grew up on Long Island. My great uncle was a surgeon who removed Billy Joel's appendix.
wow.
What?
That's just a fun fact. And two, I was actually recently talking about Billy Joel because a friend of mine said that his go-to karaoke song was "For the Longest Time," which I was like, that's actually a brilliant karaoke song. Brilliant. Shelly's leaving.
I used to do a lot of singing for the old people that I took care of, and at the place where I had a like live piano player rather than just having to do it a cappella, we would bring the house down with Piano Man. And they were old enough that like they shouldn't like Piano Man because it was too new for them, but they enjoyed it. So like
We interrupt this podcast. Shelly Bond has left the building. You may
She
resume with your regular activity.
she has
you
to
know
go
that
now. Her planet
there
needs her.
I talked to Grant Snyder recently about his book. I will judge you by your bookshelf. Shelley will totally judge you by your record collection.
It
I
is
mean,
true.
Only she's really brutal. It's not good enough to have all of the right stuff. If you have any of the wrong stuff along with the right stuff,
I make no apologies.
I mean,
I am what I am. I am what I
isn't
am, Popeye.
isn't going through someone's record collection like the equivalent of like dogs sniffing each other's butts? It's like
pretty
how
much.
you get to know them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something about that comment made me wonder, Shelley, what's your opinions on the movie High Fidelity or the book?
So I read the book. I loathed the movie. I thought it was dreadful. I thought the TV series was a little better, maybe like 3%. I'm determined to work with someone who wants to also capture that period of time fairly because it was written by a man, and the way he wrote about women, I thought was just so rude and unfair and gross. And Liz is nodding. Liz,
That's one of my top 5 movies.
are you kidding me?
Number top 5 with a bullet.
So
Oh my
so
God,
this
Liz.
is I can
How
bridge
did I
bridge
not
this.
know?
So I grew up, that was a family classic growing up. My parents showed me and introduced me to. And then when I showed it to my wife, that was her reaction, was yours, of, wow, that was kind of rude and gross. And so I think it's one of those things
I
that,
like the book better than the movie, but I'm with Liz on
yeah,
the movie. It's one of my
yeah.
favorites.
Wow. Oh
I'm
my
just-
I
God.
think that here's the thing. He's not supposed to be likable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Like
know.
that's not the,
Sure.
that's not
It's
the take
supposed to
that I
kind of
have
be
on it.
his, a little bit his redemption, but like a slow slogging one.
Yeah. So like I appreciate stories about unlikable characters.
Me too.
And Rob Gordon is an unlikable character, but like in a very charming way to me. But also
Mm.
like I grew like you, Phil, my dad was a DJ and a music journalist growing up. So like we had a whole room in the house that was just the record room, and it was completely covered in like CDs and records and cassette tapes. And he could talk about liking the Beatles. He could talk your ear off about the Paul is dead, pulling out every album and showing you every clue.
That's awesome.
So like, that movie came out, I think I was probably 19 or 20, maybe. I can't really remember. But like, I don't know, it just was like, yeah, people are really shitty in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, but also like, I don't know, that whole thing about like it's what you like, it's not what you are like it's kind of true a little bit though.
Well, at
Just
least
a little bit.
at least I immediately thought High Fidelity when you said that we judge each other by our record collections.
that was what got me there too.
And interesting. How about Almost Famous?
I love
I
Almost
like
Famous.
Almost Famous.
I'm
Yeah.
about to rewatch that one pretty soon.
I was actually about to say though that High Fidelity isn't my favorite book about a record store, and it's not my favorite Nick Hornby music book, because Nick Hornby, I like Juliet Naked better as a music book, and my favorite book about a record store is Telegraph Avenue by Michael Chabon. So just, reading recommendations for people
Good to know.
if they feel like it.
Good to know.
My friend, I just want to say, to cap off this conversation, my friend has a print that someone made that's a tombstone, and it just says she had to listen to men talk about music. And
that's great.
And I am like, yeah.
Is that Nicole George's by any chance?
No, it's definitely not. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know who made the print, and I'm not sure that she knows. I don't know where she got it.
I feel like you could
awesome.
do multiple versions of that: music, movies, and football.
Oh yeah.
Just like
well, the music
and
one
just
works.
the one that I had to listen to men talk.
Yeah, exactly. You can cap it right there.
Mm-hmm.
End of sentence.
Well,
listen, I know we have to go in a couple of minutes, but
you got to let me ask my favorite closing question.
Ask it to Liz.
I mean, you got to answer too. You got to answer every time,
all right,
but
Liz
it is
first.
mostly to Liz. Yeah.
Liz first.
Tell me something you love, preferably a comic, but I don't really have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules, whatever. But something that you love that not enough people around you have experienced, and you need them to because you want more people to talk about it with.
Okay, well, comic wise, I think one of my favorite comics of all time is Monsters by Ken Dahl, aka Gabby Schultz. It was a Secret Acres book. It's his autobio book about having herpes. And it's like, so Gabby's cartooning, talk about like just like really funny stuff hidden in the drawings. Like he pulls that off like tenfold. I don't even know if you can get that book anymore. I assume it is long out of print, but it will always be one of my favorites. Recently, I just read that book Cornelius that I think Drawn and Quarterly put it out. It's either D&Q or Fantagraphics. And I'm gonna admit that I can't even remember the artist's name, but it's like I haven't enjoyed a comic in that way in such a long time, and I really actually
Drawn and
wasn't
Quarterly.
yeah, I wasn't expecting to like it because it's a comic where all the characters are animals, and I'm a little bit like meh about those kinds of books when they are just like
Not Donald Duck.
yeah, they're basically like it's like
Anthropomorphic personifications.
It's very the story is very Chris Ware-esque, and I think some of the storytelling is as well. Like the comic style, the cartooning style like changes every once in a while, and how the characters are drawn like changes every once in a while. But I really enjoyed it. That's probably one of my favorite books of the year so far.
It is by Mark Teresis.
Yes, a Spanish author.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed You and Me on Repeat by Mary Shine. I think that's how you say their last name. It just came out from Harper or Henry Holt or one of those like YA publishers. And it's kind of got like a Groundhog Day kind of thing. It's these teenagers who are trapped repeating their graduation day like over and over and over again. And it's really good, really layered, great cartooning.
Excellent.
Really good time.
Yeah, it is Henry Holt, and it does look fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And also frogs. Everyone should just like frogs.
Frogs. I like frogs.
Yeah.
Everyone should like frogs.
Frogs are good.
And they should read my book, Science Comics, Frogs, to learn more about them.
Wait a minute. Did you write and draw a book about frogs? I didn't even know you liked frogs.
I have read
of me.
I am not. Who bought you a crocheted stuffed frog for Christmas one year?
Yeah, hey, I have the pickle wawa. Pickle wawa's on my couch.
That's right. See? And look at that. There's a frog on your screen.
Oh, there's frogs.
Frogs everywhere.
Frogs in Green Day. Frogs in Green Day is
and the world's biggest Green Day poster. It's like 5
there
feet
you
tall.
go. I love it. So I will quickly throw in just some wonderful British cartoonists that have impressed me over the past couple of years. One of them is Cleo Isadora, and anything by Cleo is phenomenal. I'm holding it up for our video chat, but just phenomenal, both as writer and artist. Just really just.
Where did you get that / how does somebody get that here?
Well, you know what?
Avery Hill, Big Cartel.
Yeah, I think you can, I know that a lot of the smaller
or straight from Clea Isadora's shop, maybe
boutique publishers, comic book shops have it. I know it's easy for me to get to those places in LA. But Cleo Isadora is one. The other person who really has been blowing me away, and Liz, this person reminds me of you in terms of their comedic approach, is Beck Kubrick.
Has anyone ever heard of
Beck? Is amazing. I read her book, Don't Worry, I Die at the end, and I couldn't resist just throwing a pull quote in her face. I said, she's part Sylvia Plath, part Peanuts gang. I mean, that's what it was to me. And I love their work. That
looks really
good. They are really fun and really funny. And I'm doing another Death by Misadventure this year, and actually Beck has a story that she illustrated. So yeah.
Now is this a nom de plume? Because I can't help but think music and movies when I hear Beck Kubrick.
That's a really good question. I have no clue, but what a cool name, right?
It is.
It is a very cool name. And I thought Liz Prince was a cool name, but I have been shown the true way.
by a very slim margin.
Yeah, no, I mean Liz Prince.
Yeah, especially with the whole frog,
Yeah,
Prince
it's exactly.
angle.
Hey, the first
Yeah.
thing I was given when I was born was a little, it's like a weird, like leather stuffed frog,
Yep,
and I still have it.
there you
That's
go.
awesome.
Well, listen, I
So,
can't thank you all enough for reaching out
of
and
course.
inviting us to be guests. It's been so much fun.
I've
I've
been
got,
trying to get you to bring Liz since like the
I
Kickstarter.
know,
So, I
I know,
mean, when I saw the
Liz.
whole book coming, yeah, you were like
I'm
out of the country or
sorry.
something, Liz. I don't
Oh,
remember what the
yeah.
issue was.
Yeah, I
You,
don't leave the house, and that means for podcasts. That means virtually too. I don't leave the
Right.
house.
but
Right.
you were in Japan twice during the makings of
That's true. I was in
Suddenly
Japan
Summer Camp from
twice,
Hell.
which
Yeah.
makes me sound very decadent.
It does. It does for sure. She was shopping for frogs.
I was completely just buying frog Gashupan toys the entire time.
That sounds right.
there's proof right behind her if you don't believe her.
Yep.
I can see it.
Look over her shoulder.
My husband went to Japanese wrestling, and I just went around and put yen coins into those little vending machines and got toys out of them.
You must have looked like obsessed though. You probably had a frog suit on. You had a bag with a frog on it. You were like, more, I must have more frogs in my suitcase.
Those places are very popular there, but I will admit that there was never any wait for the frog ones. So I think
See?
people just don't know what's good.
I think you're right.
I mean, they're too urban. They don't get to see the
Mhm.
frogs often enough. They think of
Mhm.
them as like cut rate turtles,
I once
and they're wrong. They're wrong.
Mhm.
I once
But
had my mom pull over the car so that I could get out and usher a frog from the middle of the street back onto the side. So
If only we would have
yeah.
had you at that terrible moment in summer camp where that turtle met its
Oh God, yeah.
went
Oof.
it met its death and its shell went in flight, and
Oh my
you
gosh.
can't make that stuff up.
No, yeah,
Anyway,
that's
I really appreciate the time you
I
guys gave us here. It's been so much
I
fun.
love it when you come back.
Thank
So
you.
I always find excuse. And how'd you like Heroes Con?
Loved Heroes Con.
It was it,
Best
I
show
wanted
since
to go this year.
CXC.
Yeah, I wanted to go down and I just had stuff pile up and I couldn't get there.
Yeah,
But one year I'll get down there.
really, I recommend it to everyone. It is just
Well,
such a comics
I've
lover show.
yeah, I've heard it's the other one that is like all about comics in terms
Yeah.
of the bigger ones,
Yep.
not the pop culture, but like comics.
Yep. It
Um,
was amazing.
yeah.
Anyway, I hope everybody has a great week, and I hope anyone who's listening might want to just check out our newest book.
Suddenly, one summer camp from hell from Liz
From
Prince and Shelly Bond.
H.E. double
hockey
sticks.
stick.
That's right.
Hockey sticks. Hockey sticks.
Maybe some 31 editing tips too. That dropped.
That did drop. And
I,
thanks for
I
mentioning
think
that. I
I
haven't
think
even
you
like
wrote in mine. I
I
think you wrote in
did.
mine that I got the first, so that made me feel really cool.
Well,
You
I
might have
haven't
lied, and if you
I
did
didn't
lie,
lie. Well, I might have lied. Liz made me lie. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't even talk about that book because I've just been so busy finishing up my doppelganger. I don't want people to
right?
think I'm doing anything other than finishing that book because A to Z was from Inktober. So
Right,
I basically worked with Art by Lid, who is another terrific artist,
right.
who is even younger than all of us. They are 20, they are 26.
Right.
26. That's when my life began. So I moved to New York
Yeah.
City and that was it.
Yeah.
But A to Z, 31 tips for making comics, not just for artists and writers and editors, but just for people who want to understand, like, what's this all about? It's just
Mhm.
31 tips. You can try some, you can ignore some, you can rip
Oh,
it up, you can
I'm
set
gonna
it
tell you.
on fire.
I'm gonna tell you right now that that's the one that like you should have a stack anytime you do a small press con.
Well, trust me
That
when
and
I
the
tell
first
you that.
editing book
Well,
are like
thank you.
because I mean again the small press people are all over those already. they're going, oh wow.
All right. Well,
So-
if you don't mind continuing to spread the word, I appreciate it.
I of course will.
And
Of
Liz,
course.
Liz, thank you again for everything you contributed from the writing and art directing and penciling and
And Liz,
inking.
if you ever want to come back and even just, I'll talk anything at all with you. You want to talk frogs, we'll have you back on.
Sounds good.
Frogs,
You'll
Green
never,
Day,
if,
comics,
if
whatever.
you thought Randy could talk someone's ear off,
Whoa.
just wait till we get going on those frogs.
I think that we should have Randy and Liz come on and talk frogs.
Oh my goodness. Well, guess what? Randy's even more afraid of fish and frogs than Shelly.
Well, see,
don't
that
know
should
if
make it
that's-
a fantastic
I
conversation.
don't know. I don't know. Randy, I don't know. Now she'll change
Liz,
the
can you bring like
conversation.
live frogs to show off?
Wait a
I
minute.
mean, I can bring mine from the other room.
Randy likes bingo and the casinos. So can you do frog bingo? I mean, she might be interested.
I mean, we did. I did just tell you that I used to run dementia units in senior care. I know bingo back and forth. I
All
ran
right.
a rockin' bingo game.
I think we
I
might
even-
have
I
I think we
even
might have
sang-
a really boring podcast coming up.
Beatles verses for 64. Because will you still need me? Will you still feed me?
Well,
That's
on-
my cue to leave.
Bye,
for
everybody.
Liz Prince and Shelly Bond, we will see you after the next page.